Commander Zixaria Vel stared at the screens in front of her. The bridge of the stellar harmony was quiet, except for the soft hum of computers. Her forearms moved across the controls as she checked the readings again. Nothing but empty space and distant stars. She had been patrolling this area for 3 months now. The void nebula stretched out like a dark cloud, hiding whatever might be beyond it. Most ships stayed away from this place. The story said strange things happened here. "Commander," called out Ensign Korth from his station. "I'm getting some old readings from the archives. Want to see something interesting?" Vel's orange eyes turned toward him. Korth was young and always excited about old stories. "What is it this time, Ensign?" "Records about the Deathworlders, ma'am. The humans." Vel made a clicking sound with her beak. Every young officer learned about humans in training. They were stories told to new crews about the most dangerous species that ever lived. According to the tailies, humans came from a planet so deadly that it tried to kill them every day. This made them strong and smart in ways that frightened other species. The story said humans could survive in places that would kill anyone else. They could go without food for days, fight with broken bones, and think of solutions that no one else could imagine. Their ships moved like living things, and they won battles that should have been impossible. "Ensign, those are just stories," Vel said. "Humans disappeared 500 years ago. They were probably never as dangerous as the tailies say. But Commander, look at these ship designs." Korth sent the data to her screen. "The records show they built vessels unlike anything we've ever seen." Vel looked at the images. The human ships were strange. They had smooth curves instead of straight lines. They looked like they could move fast and hit hard. But she had seen many ship designs over her 20 years in service. These looked like the work of a clever but primitive species. "Ancient history, Ensign. Focus on our current mission." The Confederation had many stories about the old days. Before humans vanished, there have been wars and chaos. Some said humans started the trouble. Others claimed they tried to stop it. Then came the Great Silence. All contact with human worlds stopped. Ships sent to check on them found empty planets and dead cities. Most people believed a plague had killed them all. Others thought they had destroyed themselves in wars. A few claimed they had fled to distant stars. But no one had seen a human ship in 5 centuries. "Ma'am, I have an unknown contact." The voice came from Lieutenant Nex at the sensor station. Vel's attention snapped back to the present. "Show me." The main screen lit up with sensor data. Something was out there, near the edge of the nebula. It was big enough to be a ship, but the readings were strange. "Can you identify it?" Vel asked. "Negative, Commander. The hull composition is unknown. Energy readings are very low. It might be damaged." Vel studied the data. The ship's shape was odd. It had curves and angles that didn't match any known design. She felt something cold in her stomach as she compared it to the archived images Korth had shown her. "Ensign Korth, bring up those human ship designs again." The young officer quickly put the images on screen. Vel looked back and forth between the archive data and the sensor readings. The unknown ship matched the old human designs almost perfectly. "That's impossible," she whispered. "Commander, should I contact the fleet?" Lieutenant Nex asked. Vel's mind raced. If this was really a human ship, it would change everything. The Confederation Council would want to know immediately. But if she was wrong, she would look foolish for believing in old stories. Send a secure message to command, she decided. Tell them we have found an unknown vessel that matches archived human designs. Request instructions. As they waited for a reply, Vel watched the distant ship on her screens. It wasn't moving. No signals came from it. But something about it felt alive, like it was watching them back. The reply from command came faster than expected. The message was simple and clear. Maintain distance. Observe only. Do not approach. Do not attempt contact. Understood, Command, Vel replied. But she kept staring at the strange ship. Hours passed. The crew took turns watching the vessel. It remained silent and still. Vel found herself thinking about the old stories. Were humans really as dangerous as the legends claimed? What if they had been out there all this time, hiding in the dark spaces between stars? Commander, Nex called out suddenly. The ship is moving. On the screen, they could see the human vessel turning slowly. It was damaged, with burn marks along its hull, but it was definitely functional. Any signals? Vel asked. Wait. Yes, ma'am. Very weak transmission. It's a distress call. Vel's heart began beating faster. Can you translate it? Working on it. The language matches old Earth archives. It says, "This is the UESV Defiance. We need help. Please respond if anyone can hear this." The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the screens. After 500 years of silence, humans were calling for help. Vel thought about her orders. Stay away, don't make contact. But someone was in trouble out there. Someone who might hold the answers to one of the galaxy's greatest mysteries. Commander, what should we do? Nex asked quietly. Vel looked at the ship on their screen. It was small compared to her vessel, and clearly damaged. Whatever danger humans might represent, these ones needed help. She made her decision. Set course for the human ship. Slow approach. Keep shields ready but don't power weapons. We're gonna help them. Ma'am, our orders. Nex started to protest. Our orders are to observe. We can't observe properly from this distance. Vel's voice was firm. Besides, they asked for help. We're not going to ignore a distress call. As the stellar harmony moved toward the human ship, Vel wondered what she was getting her crew into. The stories about humans might be just myths and legends, but she was about to find out if there was any truth in them. The unknown vessel grew larger on the screen as they approached. Soon, she would learn whether the Deathworlders were real. The stellar harmony moved slowly toward the human ship. Vel kept her eyes on the screens, watching for any sign of danger. The damaged vessel grew larger as they got closer. Commander, we're getting more signals from them, Nex reported. They're sending mathematical sequences. Prime numbers, then geometric patterns. Vel nodded. This was how species tried to show they were intelligent when they first met. The humans were following old first contact rules. Send the same patterns back to them, she ordered. Let them know we understand. The human ship responded immediately. New signals came through, more complex this time. Then came something unexpected, sounds that might be a language. Can the computer translate it? Vel asked. Working on it, ma'am. The database has some old Earth languages stored. It says this is something called English. After a few minutes, words began to appear on the screen. This is Captain Sarah Chun of the Earthship Defiance. We've been drifting for weeks. Our life support is failing. Please help us. Vel felt a chill run through her body. These were real humans, alive after 5 centuries of silence. Respond to them, she said. Tell them we're here to help. This is Commander Vel of the Confederation ship Stellar Harmony. She dictated to the communications officer. We received your distress call. What assistance do you need? The reply came quickly. Commander Vel? The Confederation still exists? We thought everyone was dead. Vel stared at the message. Ask them what they mean. More signals came from the human ship. Captain Chun's voice sounded tired and confused. We lost contact with all other species 500 years ago. The Grey Death took everyone. We've been searching for survivors ever since. Grey Death? Vel whispered. She had never heard of such a thing. "Computer, search archives for any reference to Grey Death," she ordered. While they waited, more messages came from the humans. Captain Chen explained that her ship was the UESV Defiance, part of the United Earth Space Force. They had been on a deep space exploration mission when the plague started. "All communication stopped," Chen's voice said through the speakers. "Every world, every station went silent. We tried to go home, but Earth was empty. No life signs anywhere. We thought we were the last ones left." Vel's computer finished its search. "Commander, I found references to the Grey Death in historical files. It occurred 500 years ago. But according to our records, it wasn't a plague. What was it?" Vel asked. "A natural space phenomenon. A massive electromagnetic storm that swept through this part of the galaxy. It knocked out long-range communications for several years. All species learned to shield their equipment, but it took time to restore contact with distant worlds." Vel understood now. The humans had been new to space travel then. When the communication stopped, they assumed the worst. They thought everyone else had died. "Patch me through to the human ship," Vel ordered. "Captain Chen, this is Commander Vel. We need to talk. The Grey Death wasn't what you think it was." There was a long pause. Then Chen's voice came back, sounding uncertain. "What do you mean?" "It was an electromagnetic storm, not a plague. No one died. We just lost communications for a while. All the other species are alive and well." Another pause, even longer this time. When Chen spoke again, her voice was shaky. "That's impossible. We checked dozens of worlds. They were all empty. You were probably looking at colony worlds that were evacuated during the storm," Val explained. "The main homeworlds are fine. The Confederation has over 2,000 member species now." The human ship went silent for nearly an hour. Val could only imagine what Captain Chen and her crew were thinking. They had spent 5 centuries believing they were alone in the universe. Finally, new signals came through. "Commander Val, this is hard for us to accept. We've been running and hiding for so long. Can you prove what you're saying?" Val thought for a moment. "We can show you current star charts, population data, anything you need. But first, do you need immediate help with your ship?" "Yes," Chung replied quickly. "Our life support is failing, and we have crew members in medical crisis. Can you help us?" "We're sending over a repair team and medical assistants," Val said. She turned to her officers. "Prepare a shuttle. Medical team and engineers." Ensign Korth raised his hand. "Commander, is it safe?" "The story's about humans." Vel looked at him. "They're asking for help, Ensign. Whatever the stories say, they're people in trouble." The shuttle launched 20 minutes later. Vel watched nervously as it approached the human ship. The Defiance was smaller than she had expected, but its design was impressive. Even damaged, it looked fast and dangerous. "Shuttle team reporting," came the voice of Chief Engineer Wex. "The humans have opened their docking bay. Their ship is pretty beat up, but it's amazing how long it stayed functional. Any problems with the crew?" Vel asked. "No, ma'am. They're being very helpful." "And Commander, they don't look as scary as the stories say. They're actually quite small." Vel was surprised. The legends described humans as large and frightening. "How many of them are there?" "Just 12, ma'am. Captain Chen says most of the crew is in something they call cryosleep. They've been taking turns staying awake to maintain the ship." Over the next few hours, Vel received regular reports from her teams. The humans were grateful for help and shared everything they knew about their ship's condition. They didn't seem dangerous at all, but then something strange happened. Chief Wex reported that the humans were helping with repairs in ways that shouldn't have been possible. One human lifted a heavy power unit that normally required 2 Krillians and a mechanical assist. Another worked in a damaged section that was too dangerous for other species because of radiation levels. "They're doing things our safety protocols say are impossible," Wex reported. "But they act like it's normal." Captain Chun came aboard the Stellar Harmony to meet with Vel in person. She was smaller than Vel had expected, but there was something in her eyes that spoke of strength and determination. "Commander Vel, I want to thank you for your help," Chun said. "We've been alone for so long, we forgot what it was like to have friends." "Captain, I have to ask," Vel said carefully. "My teams report that your people can do things that seem unusual. The old stories about humans mention special abilities." Chun smiled sadly. 500 years of living in the dark parts of space changes you. We learned to survive where others couldn't. We had to become stronger, smarter, more adaptable. It was that or die. Vel realized that the legends might not have been entirely wrong. Humans had become something more than they were before, shaped by centuries of hardship and isolation. "What will you do now?" Vel asked. "Now that you know you're not alone?" Chun looked out at the stars through the bridge windows. "I don't know. We have to tell our people. We have to tell our people. There are other human ships out there, still searching. They need to know the truth." Vel nodded, but she felt worried. If there were more humans, what would happen when they learned about the 5 centuries of misunderstanding? And what would the Confederation do when they learned that the legendary Deathworlders were very much alive? News traveled fast in the Confederation. Despite Vel's attempts to keep the human discovery secret, word leaked out within days. Every communications channel buzzed with rumors and reports. Vel sat in her ready room, reading message after message from command. The Confederation Council was meeting in emergency session. Some members were excited about finding a lost species. Others were frightened by the return of the legendary Deathworlders. A priority message flashed on her screen. It was from Admiral Kess himself, the head of Confederation Defense. "Commander Vel," the message read, "you are to maintain position with the human vessel. A special diplomatic team is being sent to make first contact. Do not allow the humans to leave or communicate with anyone else." Vel frowned. The order felt wrong. Captain Chun and her crew weren't prisoners. They were refugees who needed help getting home. "Commander," Lieutenant Nex called from the bridge. "Captain Chun is requesting to meet with you." "Send her to my ready room," Vel replied. When Chun arrived, she looked worried. "Commander, we're getting strange readings on our sensors. More ships are coming this way." "Confederation vessels," Vel explained. "They want to meet with you officially." Chun studied Vel's face. "You don't look happy about that." "It's complicated, Captain. The Confederation hasn't seen humans in 5 centuries. Some people are scared of what that might mean." "Scared of us?" Chun seemed genuinely surprised. "We're just 12 people on a broken ship." Before Vel could answer, alarms began sounding on the bridge. She rushed out with Chun following close behind. "Report," Vel ordered. "Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace," Nex announced. "Confederation fleet on approach." "But Commander, there are also Thaxari vessels." Vel's blood went cold. The Thaxari Empire was always looking for new weapons and advantages. If they had heard about the humans, they would want them for their military. "How many ships?" she asked. 15 Confederation vessels and 8 Thaxari cruisers. "The Thaxari are moving to intercept us." Captain Chun moved to one of the bridge stations and began studying the displays. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls, understanding the alien technology faster than should have been possible. "Those are military formations," Chun said quietly. "They're not here to talk." A communication came through from the lead Thaxari ship. The harsh voice of Commander Jethak filled the bridge. Confederation vessel, you will surrender the human ship to us immediately. The Empire has claim to all military assets found in this sector. Vel stepped forward. This is not your territory, Stock. The humans are under Confederation protection. Protection? Stack's laugh was like metal scraping against stone. The Deathworlders need no protection. They are weapons that belong in proper hands. Captain Chun looked at Vel with raised eyebrows. Deathworlders? Old stories about your species, Vel explained quickly. Some people think humans are dangerous warriors. Well, Chun said with a small smile, they're not entirely wrong. She pressed her communicator. Defiance, this is the captain. Wake the crew. All of them. We have a situation. Captain, Vel said urgently, what are you doing? Getting my people ready. I've seen this kind of standoff before. Someone's going to start shooting, and I'd rather my crew was awake when it happens. The Confederation fleet arrived and took positions around them. Admiral Cass himself appeared on the main screen, his blue skin darker than usual with stress. Commander Vel, transfer the humans to our flagship immediately. This situation is beyond your authority. Admiral, Vel began, but Chun stepped into view of the camera. I'm Captain Sarah Chun of the United Earth Space Force, she said calmly. With respect, Admiral, we're not cargo to be transferred around. We're people. Admiral Kess stared at her. You're human. Yes, sir. And we'd like to go home now that we know we have a home to go to. The Thaxery commander's voice cut in. The humans will come with us. Their military value is too great to waste on soft Confederation politics. Over my dead body, Chine said firmly. That can be arranged, Stack replied. Suddenly, the sensors started screaming. The human ship Defiance was moving, despite being damaged. It slipped between the larger vessels like a small fish swimming between sharks. What are they doing? Admiral Cass demanded. Chun spoke into her communicator again. Martinez, show them what human engineering can do. The Defiance suddenly accelerated to speeds that should have been impossible for a damaged ship. It weaved through the fleet formation, moving in patterns that made no sense to alien tactical computers. They're heading for the Thaxery ships. Nex reported in amazement. What happened next would be talked about in military academies for years to come. The small human ship danced around the massive Thaxery cruisers like it was playing a game. Every time the alien ships tried to target it, the Defiance was already somewhere else. Then the human ship did something impossible. It fired a single shot that somehow disabled the shields on all 8 Thaxery vessels at once. How did they do that? Admiral Kess whispered. Chun smiled. We've had 500 years to get creative with our technology. When you're outnumbered and outgunned every day, you learn new tricks. The Thaxery ships found themselves defenseless. Commander Thax's voice came through, filled with rage and confusion. What did they do to us? Something we learned fighting space pirates and worse, Chun replied. Your shield systems all use the same basic frequency. We just gave them a push in the wrong direction. Impossible, Stack shouted. Our technology is advanced. Your technology is standardized, Chun corrected. Ours is desperate. Within minutes, the Thaxery fleet was disabled, but not destroyed. The humans had proven their point without killing anyone. Admiral Kess contacted Chun directly. That was impressive, Captain. But you've just demonstrated why some people fear humans. We're not looking for a fight, Admiral, Chun replied. We just want to find our people and go home. But we won't be captured or enslaved by anyone. Vel watched the exchange with growing respect for the human captain. Chun had shown strength without being cruel and intelligence without being arrogant. Admiral, Vel said, I request permission to escort Captain Chen and her crew to their destination. They've been alone long enough. Admiral Kess was quiet for a long moment. "Commander, the Council will want to question them extensively. There are procedures for first contact." "Sir, this isn't first contact," Vel pointed out. "Humans were part of galactic civilization before. They're coming home." Captain Chun looked at Vel with gratitude. "Commander, you don't have to risk your career for us." "Captain, you saved us from a battle that could have killed hundreds of people. The least I can do is help you get home." The standoff continued for hours. The Confederation fleet maintained position while the disabled Taxari ships waited for rescue. The humans remained calm and patient, but Vel could see they were ready for anything. Finally, Admiral Kess made his decision. "Commander Vel, you will escort the human ship to the edge of our territory. After that, they're free to go where they choose." "Thank you, Admiral," Chun said with relief. But as the fleets began to disperse, Vel couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The galaxy had just learned that humans were not only alive, but had become something more dangerous than the old legends suggested. And somewhere out in the dark, other human ships were waiting. Captain Chen seemed to read her thoughts. "Commander, there's something you should know. The Defiance isn't alone. We were scouts for a much larger group." Vel's heart sank. "How much larger?" Chun looked out at the stars with eyes that had seen too much. "Large enough to change everything." Vel couldn't sleep that night. Captain Chun's words kept running through her mind. A larger group of humans was out there somewhere. How large? And what did they want? She sat in her quarters, looking through classified files that her command rank allowed her to access. Something about the whole situation felt wrong. The Confederation's reaction seemed too organized, too prepared for something that was supposed to be a complete surprise. As she dug deeper into the archives, she found something that made her stomach turn cold. A file marked Project Silent Watch had been created 2 years ago. Inside were reports from deep space patrols about strange sensor readings near the Void Nebula. The reports described ships with unknown signatures appearing briefly on long-range sensors before disappearing. The sightings matched the area where they had found the Defiance. Someone had known humans might still be alive. But instead of trying to make contact, they had ordered the sightings to be classified and forgotten. Vel kept reading. She found orders from the highest levels of the Confederation government. Any ship detecting possible human presence was to report it immediately and then stay away. No attempts at contact were authorized. The last document in the file made her angry. It was a strategy paper discussing what to do if humans ever returned. The paper suggested that humans should be prevented from rejoining galactic society because their presence would disrupt the current balance of power. "Commander." Vel to the bridge immediately. Came the announcement over her communicator. She quickly closed the files and hurried to the bridge. "What's the situation?" she asked Lieutenant Nex. "Long-range sensors are detecting multiple ships entering our area." "Very large signatures, ma'am." Vel looked at the displays. 12 massive vessels were approaching from the direction of the Void Nebula. They were bigger than anything in the Confederation fleet. "Are they hostile?" she asked. "No weapons targeted at us," Nex reported. "But Commander, those ships, they match the human designs in our archives. Just much, much bigger." Captain Chun appeared on the bridge, having been summoned from her quarters on the Stellar Harmony. She looked at the sensor data and smiled sadly. "Those are our generation ships," she said quietly. "The last survivors of humanity, coming to investigate our signal." "How many people?" Vel asked. "Each ship carries about 1 million souls. Families, children, elderly, scientists, workers. Everyone we could save when we thought the galaxy had died." Vel felt overwhelmed. 12 million humans were approaching their position. The implications were staggering. "Captain, she said urgently. You need to know something. My government has been tracking human activities in this area for years. They chose not to make contact. Chun's expression hardened. What do you mean? Vel explained what she had found in the classified files. As she spoke, Chun's face grew darker with anger. They knew we were out here? Chun said. They knew we thought everyone was dead, and they did nothing? It gets worse, Vel continued. There are plans to prevent humans from returning to galactic society. Some leaders think you're too dangerous. After 500 years of hiding, we finally find other life, and they want to keep us away? Chen's voice was controlled, but Vel could hear the fury underneath. Before Vel could respond, her communications officer called out. Commander, we're receiving a message from the lead human ship. A new voice came through the speakers. It was deep and tired, like someone who had carried a heavy burden for too long. This is Admiral James Harrison of the human fleet. We've detected our scout ship in this area. Please identify yourselves. Captain Chun stepped forward. Jim, it's Sarah. We found them. Other species survived. The galaxy isn't dead. There was a long pause. Then Admiral Harrison's voice came back, filled with emotion. Sarah, is it really you? Are you saying, we're not alone? We're not alone, Jim, but it's complicated. Over the next hour, Chun explained the situation to her fleet commander. Vel listened as the two humans discussed their options. The conversation was in English, but her computer translated most of it. She learned that the human fleet had been searching for 5 centuries, moving from system to system, looking for any sign of life. They had grown strong and clever during their long journey, but they had also grown careful and suspicious. Admiral Harrison, this is Commander Vel of the Confederation Navy, she said when Chun gestured for her to speak. I want to help you people return home. Commander, Harrison's voice was cautious. Captain Chun tells me your government knew we were here, but chose not to contact us. Why should we trust you? Because not everyone in the Confederation agrees with those decisions, Vel replied. Some of us believe it was wrong to leave you alone out there. At that moment, Vel's sensors detected new ships approaching. More Confederation vessels were arriving, along with ships from other species. Word was spreading across the galaxy that humans had returned. Commander, Lieutenant Nex said quietly, Admiral Kess is demanding to speak with you privately. Vel nodded. Put him through to my ready room. In the privacy of her office, Admiral Kess appeared on the screen. His expression was stern and worried. Commander Vel, you are ordered to keep the humans in this system until the Council decides what to do with them. Admiral, these are not prisoners. They're people trying to get home. They're a potential threat to galactic stability, Kess replied. 12 million humans with 5 centuries of military innovation could destabilize everything we've built. What we've built was based on a lie, Vel said firmly. We left them out there to die, thinking we were all dead. The Council made the decision they thought was best for the galaxy. The Council was wrong. Admiral Kess's image leaned forward. Commander, you're walking very close to insubordination. Follow your orders. After the communication ended, Vel sat alone for several minutes. She thought about her oath to the Confederation and her duty to protect innocent life. She thought about Captain Chun and her crew, who had spent centuries alone in the dark. She thought about the human fleet, carrying millions of people who just wanted to go home. Finally, she made her choice. Vel returned to the bridge and walked to the communication station. Open a channel to the human fleet, she ordered. Commander? Lieutenant Nex asked, confused. Open the channel. When the connection was established, Vel spoke clearly. Admiral Harrison, this is Commander Vel. I'm transmitting current star charts, safe passage routes, and locations of habitable worlds. Your people have been alone long enough. Commander, what are you doing? Captain Chun asked. The right thing, Vel replied. Your people deserve to know the truth about the galaxy. And the galaxy deserves to know the truth about what happened to you. She began transmitting everything. Star maps, political boundaries, current events, the location of old human colonies. Information that would help the human fleet navigate the modern galaxy. Commander Vel, Admiral Harrison's voice came through with deep gratitude. Thank you. Admiral, there are ships coming to stop you. Military vessels that will try to force you to stay here. We've been running and hiding for 500 years, Commander. We're tired of it. As if summoned by his words, more ships began dropping out of hyperspace. The HFY Empire had returned with reinforcements, and they weren't the only ones. Several other species had sent fleets, all wanting to claim or control the returned humans. It looks like we're going to have a fight, Chan observed. Vel looked at the growing fleet of alien ships surrounding them. Then she looked at the 12 massive human vessels holding millions of people who just wanted to go home. Captain Chan, she said, I'm officially requesting asylum aboard your ship. Commander? Chan looked surprised. I just committed treason against the Confederation. If I stay here, they'll arrest me. But more importantly, you're going to need someone who knows current galactic politics. Chan smiled for the first time since they'd met. Welcome aboard, Commander Vel. I think you're going to fit right in. As Vel prepared to transfer to the human ship, she knew there was no going back. She had chosen a side in what was about to become the most important conflict in galactic history. The humans were coming home, whether the galaxy wanted them or not. Vel stood on the bridge of the human ship New Terra, one of the 12 massive generation ships. Around her, the human crew worked with quiet efficiency. Their technology was different from what she was used to, but it felt more alive somehow, more responsive to the people using it. Through the main view screen, she could see the largest gathering of warships in galactic history. 3 fleets faced each other in space: the Confederation Navy, the HFY Empire, and ships from a dozen other species. All of them wanted something from the humans. Status report. Admiral Harrison called out as he entered the bridge. The human commander looked older than Captain Chun, with gray hair and tired eyes that had seen too much. 68 ships in total, reported his tactical officer. All of them armed and ready. The HFY are demanding we surrender our military technology. The Confederation wants us to accept protective custody. Everyone else is making their own claims. And our people? Harrison asked. All ships are ready to jump to hyperspace if needed. But sir, some of the families are asking if we can really trust anyone after being abandoned for so long. Vel felt a stab of guilt. Her people had failed the humans 5 centuries ago, and now they were doing it again. Admiral, she said, let me try to talk to them. I might be able to prevent this from becoming a battle. Harrison looked at her thoughtfully. Commander Vel, you've already sacrificed your career for us. We don't expect you to fix 500 years of problems. Maybe I can't fix everything, Vel replied. But I can try to stop people from making new mistakes. She moved to the communications station and opened a channel to all ships in the area. Her voice was broadcast to every fleet commander present. This is Commander Zixaria Vel, formerly of the Confederation Navy, she began. I'm speaking to you from the human fleet, not as their prisoner, but as their ally. Angry voices immediately filled the channel. Admiral Kess was shouting about treason, while the HFY commander demanded her immediate return for questioning. Silence. Vel's voice cut through the noise. You want to know about humans? I've spent days with them. I've seen what 5 centuries of survival has taught them. They're not the monsters from your stories, and they're not weapons for your armies. They're people who have learned to solve problems in ways we never imagined. She paused, letting her words sink in. Right now, we have 3 fleets pointing weapons at each other. Someone is going to start shooting, and thousands will die. Unless we find another way. Captain Chun stepped up beside her. "May I?" Vel nodded, and Chun activated her own communicator. "This is Captain Sarah Chun. I want to tell you something about humans. We've spent 500 years thinking we were alone. We learned to survive by solving problems, not by fighting wars. You disabled our entire fleet." Commander Thack of the Thaxery interrupted. "That was an act of war." "That was an act of defense," Chun replied calmly. "We could have destroyed your ships, but we chose not to. We wanted to stop a fight, not start one." Admiral Harrison joined them at the communication station. "I'm Admiral James Harrison, commander of the human fleet. We've been listening to your arguments about what to do with us. You talk about us like we're objects to be claimed or threats to be contained. But we're neither. Then what are you?" asked a voice Vel recognized as Admiral Kess. "We're problem solvers," Harrison replied. "It's what we learned to be. And I'm looking at a very big problem right here." On the view screen, they could see the alien fleet still maintaining their standoffs. Weapons were powered, but not yet firing. Everyone was waiting for someone else to make the first move. "Admiral Harrison," came a new voice, one Vel didn't recognize. "This is Council Speaker Dorth of the Galactic Council. What do you propose?" Harrison looked at Vel and Chun, then back at the communication display. "We propose something that's never been tried before. The galaxy has dozens of species, all with different needs and conflicts. Wars break out regularly between different groups. What if there was a neutral party to help solve these problems? You're suggesting humans become mediators?" Speaker Dorth sounded surprised. "We're suggesting humans become what we've always been. The species that finds solutions when everyone else thinks there aren't any." Chun stepped forward again. "We've watched your conflicts from the outside for the past few days. The Thaxery want military advantage. The Confederation wants political control. The smaller species want protection from both. Everyone has legitimate concerns, but no one trusts anyone else. But you would trust humans?" Admiral Kess asked skeptically. "You don't have to trust us," Harrison replied. "You just have to trust our solutions. If we propose something that doesn't work, you don't have to accept it. But if we can find answers that work for everyone, why wouldn't you try them?" The communication channels fell silent for several minutes. Vel watched the tactical displays, seeing ships slowly beginning to lower their weapons. Finally, Speaker Dorth spoke again. "Admiral Harrison, are you formally proposing that humans serve as neutral arbitrators for galactic conflicts?" "We're proposing a trial period," Harrison said carefully. 6 months. Any dispute that can't be solved through normal diplomatic channels gets brought to us. We look at it with fresh eyes and suggest solutions. If our solutions work, great. If they don't, you go back to doing things the old way." "And in return?" Commander Thack demanded. "In return, we get to go home," Captain Chun said simply. "We want to resettle the old human colonies, rebuild our worlds, and live in peace. We're not interested in conquering anyone or taking anyone's resources. We've learned to make do with very little." Vel watched as the various fleet commanders consulted with their governments. She could see some ships backing away, their weapons powering down. Others remained in position, still suspicious. After an hour of discussions, Speaker Dorth returned to the communication channel. "The Galactic Council has voted. We will accept the human proposal for a 6-month trial period. Human arbitrators will be given access to dispute files and allowed to propose solutions. Participation by disagreeing parties will be voluntary." "What about territorial rights?" asked another voice. "Where will humans establish their new settlements?" Admiral Harrison smiled. "We'll take the worlds no one else wants. We're good at making impossible places livable." Over the next few hours, the fleets began to disperse. The immediate crisis was over, but Vel knew the real work was just beginning. "Commander Vel," Admiral Harrison said as the bridge cleared of other officers, "we have a proposal for you." "What kind of proposal?" "We need someone who understands current galactic politics to help us navigate this new role. Someone who's seen both sides of the situation." Chun nodded. "We're offering you the position of Galactic Liaison. You'd work with our arbitration teams to help us understand the political background of disputes." Vel thought about it. She could never return to the Confederation Navy after what she'd done. But this new role would let her help build something better. "I accept," she said. 6 months later, Vel stood on the bridge of the Harmony Station, the first human diplomatic facility. Through the view screen, she could see ships from a dozen species, docking to participate in mediation sessions. The human arbitration system was working better than anyone had expected. Disputes that had festered for years were being resolved in weeks. Wars that seemed inevitable were being prevented by creative solutions that no one else had thought of. "Status report?" Captain Chun asked as she joined Vel at the observation deck. "3 successful mediations this week," Vel replied. The Krillian-Zendari trade dispute was solved by suggesting a joint colony where both species could work together. The Thaxari border conflict was resolved by creating a neutral zone that both sides patrolled jointly. "And the council vote?" Chun asked. "Unanimous," Vel smiled. "The trial period is being extended indefinitely. Humans are now officially recognized as the galaxy's neutral arbitrators." Chun looked out at the busy station. "You know, a year ago we thought we were the last intelligent life in the universe. Now we're helping dozens of species learn to live together." "The legends about humans were wrong," Vel observed. "You're not Death Worlders or warriors. You're bridge builders." "Maybe we're both," Chun said thoughtfully. "We learned to fight when we had to, but we learned to solve problems because we wanted to survive." A young human officer approached them. "Captain Chun, Commander Vel, we have a new case. 2 species claiming the same star system for colonization. Both sides are requesting human mediation." Vel and Chun exchanged looks. Another problem to solve. Another chance to prove that the galaxy worked better when everyone worked together. "We'll be right there," Chun said as they walked toward the mediation chambers. Vel reflected on how much had changed. A year ago, she had been a simple naval officer following orders. Now she was helping to reshape galactic civilization. The humans had come home, but they had brought something with them that was more valuable than any technology or weapon. They had brought hope that ancient conflicts could be resolved, and that different species could find ways to live together in peace. The galaxy was bigger than anyone had imagined, and its greatest adventures were just beginning.